Fantastic. I feel better now that you can all see. Three things before we begin. I understand that there was a 1 hour kirtan in honor of the victims who died in that plane crash in India, the Air India plane crash. And the nature of spiritual sacrifice or activities is when there's a sankalpa or an intention, then those who are to be the receivers of that particular ritual or sacrifice or offering, it goes to them. Even the souls are departed. Even the souls are departed. So if the intention is that something as you just did is intended to be for the benefit of an ancestor or a departed family member or a plane crash victim or whoever is the intended, of course it very much depends upon the purity of the performers, but benefit goes, even if you're not like the best of performers or the best of pure souls, benefit goes. And what else can you do within your capacity? One of the things we can do is try to become more pure. I mean, that's life, right? Devotional life is to become more pure. And similarly, there's a nice teaching that goes along with that nice teaching that says, as you become spiritually advanced, you don't have to do anything else. I mean, you can do anything else, but even if you don't do anything else, 7 generations before and 7 generations subsequent get spiritual benefit. As you, or each one of us, becomes spiritually elevated, 7 generations in the past, 7 generations in the future get spiritual benefit. So what to do? Become spiritually elevated. And your well-wishing, just being a bodily relative, naturally with that commonly goes well-wishing, then benefit goes to the soul. You can't see it happening, but that's the teaching. Shastra teaches us. And one of the topics I'm going to discuss, this is part 2. As you see on the screen, this is part 3. So, sorry that you missed parts 1 and 2, some of you. But I can do a mini summary, but I'm not going to do more than a mini summary because I want to do a maximum on part 3. And another point, and I'm ready to begin. My understanding is there are friends of the host family, and you're in the category of newer, as opposed to very seasoned Hare Krishna devotees or followers of Srimad Bhagavatam. And so I didn't dumb it down. I just made there's a sufficient introduction to the topic, so I think you should all be able to follow. Let's see. And if there's something as we're going along that you're struggling with understanding, hold it to the end, because one of the best parts of anything is the questions and answer session. That's my experience. Then it becomes very personal and meaningful. So we'll spend some time. If there's something that you hear that's like, what's all that about? Note it down or remember it, and we'll take it up. And at the beginning, I want to discuss some points that are from Bhagavad Gita. Now, I'll have a bold assumption that most of the people here have a ABC fundamental understanding of Bhagavad Gita. Maybe not, maybe not Bhagavad Gita scholars, but you have a basic understanding of Bhagavad Gita. That's a fair assumption. Basic understanding. And I want to touch on some questions that Bhagavad Gita brings up, and we did this with the other classes, part 1 and 2 as well. Chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita comes after chapter 9. And in chapter 9, there's a discussion of devotional service. And then devotional service unto whom? Unto Krishna. But Krishna speaking, the beginning of chapter 10, and he poses a question, which is what you see on the screen. What you see on the screen is, by what methods can you know what existed before we existed? It's a reasonable question. And Krishna supplies the answer. Well, there's 3 answers. 1, you can't know. And then he describes the persons who don't know. The great sages, the demigods, great rishis, they don't know. And why don't they know? Because I existed before they existed. So they can't know me. But one can know Krishna if Krishna discloses, I am like this. And then that's chapter 10. He discloses, I am like this. It's the title of the chapter is opulent. In English, it's Opulences of the Absolute, or in Sanskrit, it's Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti. Vibhuti is a particular term. It means opulence, but opulence of the Supreme. Because living entities can have opulences, but they're borrowed opulences. They're opulences that are reflections of the original opulence of the Supreme. And that's what this world is. But that's chapter 15, Bhagavad Gita. This world, simple. This world is a reflection of the spiritual world. Or it's sometimes used chaya, a shadow. Shadow. Like over here, here's my hand. And on the wall, there's a shadow of my hand. So if I want the shadow to move, I just move my hand. And the shadow moves. The shadow moves because the hand moves. The shadow is a reflection of. And similarly, this material, whole material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. It exists because there's a spiritual world. Its existence is resting upon, the shadow is resting upon the object that casts the shadow. And so one can know of Krishna through the opulences of Krishna, but then he's the opulent. He's the source of those opulences. He's the source of everything. Now, there are ways that people try to know. We know not just what's the source of everything, what existed before we existed, but to know anything. So there are ways by which there are 3 primary ways. This is philosophy. 3 primary ways of knowledge. 1, sense perception. Like, for example, if you listen carefully, you can hear a little fan. And it's hot outside, so it's probably the air conditioning fan. So that I'm perceiving something, and then the second is I infer or reason, it perhaps maybe it's the air conditioning fan. So those are 2 means of sense perception and reason and logic. But it might be something else. And so reason doesn't always get you the right answer of knowing something. People make mistakes. The error is human, right? So the senses are imperfect. Our reasoning is fallible. So if both of those are fallible sources of knowledge, what's an infallible source of knowledge? Is there such a thing? And the answer is yes. A sound that comes from a non-human or non-fallible source. The Sanskrit phrase is shabda, sound. And that's the Vedas. The Vedas are shabda, called shabda praman, the means of knowing things through sound. So I can know, for example, in Bhagavad Gita, that's a shabda. And in Bhagavad Gita it says there are 8 material elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, that's 5. Mind, intelligence, false ego, that's the subtle body. And altogether, bodies are made of those 8. Now, I haven't seen a mind anywhere. I know that there's a mind. I'm thinking and feeling and willing, and I know therefore likely somebody else is thinking, feeling, willing. But the Bhagavad Gita states it. There's the mind, there's the functions of the mind, there's the intelligence, there's a false ego. There's a subtle body. The subtle body is there. Now, I can't, by sense perception, I can maybe reason, but then using the mind as the reasoning faculty. And how do you reason something that you can't see? You can, it might be something else, it might be something else. So the idea is, truth even of this world is properly understood through Shabda, from a source that's infallible. Because there's sound vibrations that are fallible. The world is filled with sound vibrations, and sound vibrations that are fallible. And the infallible, that's the Vedas. And in common, like, I when I was a young boy, I didn't grow up as a Hare Krishna guy. I grew up in a Christian family, and as a young Christian boy would do, I was introduced to the Bible, and we studied the Bible, and the Bible was known as revealed scripture. Revealed means there's the source of everything, and what that is that's beyond my experience is revealed through scripture, through the revealed scripture. That's what scripture does. That's what Shabda does. It reveals things. And ultimately the source of all things, the Supreme, the Word of God. At least there have been additions of the Bible over a period of time, and who knows if we have the original Bible today. But, we have something. And similarly, Bhagavad Gita is the revealed scripture. And there are things in Bhagavad Gita and things in the Srimad Bhagavatam that are beyond our experience. We're going to be hearing some of them. The reason I'm going through this is we're going to be hearing some pretty amazing things, like Krishna's appearing. Here's the verse from Bhagavad Gita chapter 10. And many of you like to recite Bhagavad Gita slokas, so we can recite it together. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam bodha bhava samanditaha. So Krishna is making a declaration. He's revealing the fact that he's the source of everything. There's not multiple sources of everything. There's one source of everything, and Krishna is that one source of everything. And it's first person singular, aham. I am prabhava, the source of emanation of everything. So sarvasya means matter and spirit. He's the source of everything. And there's not something that exists that doesn't come from that source. or Prabhupada's way of saying it is, there's two things. There's Krishna, and there's Krishnas. And there's not a third thing in the creation of God. There's no such thing as void, because there's Krishna, and there's Krishnas, and there's not some thing or some place where there isn't Krishna or Krishnas. No such thing. There's teachings that speak of the void, called Buddhism, or brands of Buddhism, but there's no such thing. Nice try, but there's no such thing. Aham sarvasya prabhava, I'm the source of everything. Then he says it in reverse. Matak sarvam pravartate, I'm the source of everything, everything comes from me. Checkmate. Iti matva, thus knowing. Bhajante mam, that person engages in bhaja, or bhajan, or devotional service unto Krishna. Bhajante mam. Buddha is the same Sanskrit root as buddhi, which means intelligence, spiritual intelligence. That person becomes fully spiritually intelligent. And bhava, you know the meaning, bhava, it means ecstasy. And in that state of devotional service, in full knowledge of the source of everything, they're experiencing ecstasy. Here's Prabhupada's translation from Bhagavad Gita. I'm the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise, that's the Buddha folks, who perfectly know this, engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. But we have to hear from that proper source. What's that source of everything? And then that's chapter 10. And I'm going to next show you a verse from chapter 15. In the chapter 15, verse number 15, Krishna says, He is situated in the heart of every living entity. The Paramatma feature, the Lord of the heart, is within the heart of every living entity. And from that Lord in the heart, He provides matak smitir jnanam apohanam cha. Sarvasya chaham hridi, hridi means heart, sanivishto, matak smritir jnanam, forgetfulness, remembrance, and knowledge. It all forgetfulness comes from Krishna, remembrance comes from Krishna, knowledge comes, everything comes from Krishna because He's the source, and He's situated in the heart. And then the second half of that verse, he says, we can recite if you like, Vedaisya sairvair aham eva vedyo Vedanta krit veda vid eva chaham. By all the Vedas I'm to be known. So He's the source of the Vedas. What's the Vedas? Veda means knowledge. Vid means to know. And Veda means knowledge, that which is known. The Vedas emanate from Narayana. The Vedas are the breathing, the sound vibration of Narayana. And He is in the spiritual world. And somehow that sound vibration makes its way to this world. That means there's somebody in this world that's got their receiver on. He's the vibrator, the broadcasting unit, and someone is the receiver. And there are rishis that can receive that broadcast or that vibration of the Vedas, and they know the Vedas because they receive it. And the main one who received it and made it manifest in this world is Vedavyas. And therefore Krishna says, indeed I am the compiler of Vedanta. Who's the compiler of Vedanta? Vyas. After Vyas is an incarnation of Krishna. He's a manifestation empowered by Krishna in this world to do a certain something. take the knowledge of the Vedas and put it in a written form. Because before, the Vedas was known in the written form. It was in the sound form, but not written. But in this age of Kali, people have short memories, so they have to see something written. And once something is written, and then they can read it. So Vyasa did that service. And after writing or compiling all the Vedas, he summarized it. In like very interesting manner. Codes. Sutras are codes. And generally codes are something that if you don't understand the code, you don't understand what's going on. Like your password for your home, your Wi-Fi. It's got a little password. So sutras are like that, they're passwords. And to some people it's gobbledygook. What's that mean? But Vyasa knew, and Vyasa taught those so they would know. This code means this, that code means that. And it's a good way to preserve things in codes. And then qualified people can know, and the rest of the world just don't understand it. And the Vedanta Sutra is like that. It's difficult to understand. It's very difficult to understand. For many, besides the sutra style, the language is heavenly language. So there's Laukika Sanskrit and Alaukika Sanskrit. And Vedanta Sutra is in that Alaukika, not worldly, heavenly Sanskrit language. It's very elevated. There's rules, and if you're a student and you learn the rules, you can learn Alaukika Sanskrit. Then you can at least pronounce properly, maybe even with a proper teacher, understand what's in Vedanta Sutra. But Vyasa knows, and Krishna knows, because Vyasa is his empowered incarnation. Shakti Avesha Avatar. Shakti Avesha Avatar. For the purpose of doing all of this. So, indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I know I am the knower of the Vedas. Vedanta Krid, Veda Vid, Eva Chaham. So, the purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna. Krishna says. And from time to time, Krishna not only provides knowledge of him through the Vedas, but from time to time Krishna comes personally. And when he comes personally, what's his reason for coming to this shadowy place, this reflection-only place, an insubstantial, now you see it, now you don't kind of place? Why does Krishna come here? And he reveals that going way back in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Here's the verse. Let's say it together. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya traduskritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna gives 3 reasons. There's more than 3, but 3 principal reasons why he comes. The first one, Pritranaya Sadhunam. He gives protection or delivers the sadhus. He comes to protect the sadhus. Because there are people that harass sadhus sometimes. And those people that do the harassing, that's the duskritis. So he diminishes the influence of the duskritis while protecting the pious, the sadhus. And sometimes there's dharma gets lost, or there's discrepancy, glani, discrepancy in dharma. So Krishna comes and sets it straight. He restores dharma. 1, 2, 3. And here's the translation. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I appear myself sambhavami. Sambhavami. He doesn't require mother and father. He doesn't require a material cause. he comes by his own volition. Yuge, from age to age, millennium after millennium, from time to time, he comes. According to other sources of the Vedas, he comes once in a day of Brahma to this earthly realm and does these three things. And he does more than those three things. And so that's the next point. One of the more than those three things that he does, he accomplishes many things with one thing. And how do we understand that? We understand that through in principle, it's easy to understand. The detail is found in a writing by Rupa Goswami. A writing by Rupa Goswami is about devotional service, bhakti, or specifically bhakti rasa. So with bhakti comes some taste, or mellow, or rasa, juice. One experiences bhakti is an exchange of love between the abode of love, that's the devotee, and the object of love. In this world, there's subject and object, and they vacillate back and forth. Sometimes one is hearing, another is speaking, and then that one who is hearing speaks. So the roles in rasa, or love, loving exchange, oscillate, or they move back and forth. Because the essence is the relationship, not who's speaking, who's listening. It's a relationship. And there's varieties of exchanges. And that's rasa, or taste, in that exchange of love. So the exchange of love, when Krishna is the object and the devotee of Krishna is the subject, it's like grammar, subject, object, and verb. And there's also adjectives and adverbs and other things that go into grammar, but the main thing is subject, object, and verb. And the verb is service. And the subject is us. And the object is Krishna. Through when it's bhakti, he's the object. And we're the subject. So bhakti rasa. Sindhu is the whole ocean of bhakti rasa. So Rupa Goswami wrote a book about it. Because Lord Chaitanya taught him all about bhakti and bhakti rasa. And so he wrote a very elegant book about bhakti rasa, and one whole section, there are 2 chapters that are just dealing about the object, Krishna, and what are the attractive aspects or features of Krishna that stimulate the love of the subject. There's a Sanskrit term, udipan, stimulation of ecstatic love. And one of the dimensions it stimulates is Krishna's qualities are so attractive. And here's a statement from the summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. One of the qualities of Krishna that stimulates love is clever. And the description by Rupa Goswami is, a person who can perform various types of work at once is called clever. Now, in our modern language, there's a different term. It's called multitasking. And people are honored. If you can multitask, that you're good. You know, you're in the kitchen and you're cooking, and you're not only cooking, you got your phone on your shoulder, and you're making a plan while your phone is on the shoulder of, the festival that's going to happen later, or what are you going to do, your shopping, or, you're multitasking all the time. And people are considered, you can multitask very nicely. But that's not Krishna. He's not multitasking. He's doing one thing. And with that one thing, he's simultaneously accomplishing many things. We're going to hear about it today from Canto 10, Chapter 12. Not multitasking, but this cleverness. And here's the example given by Rupa Goswami. one of the gopis said, "My dear friends, just see the clever activities of Sri Krishna. He has composed nice songs about the cowherd boys and is pleasing the cows. By the movement of his eyes, he is pleasing the gopis. At the same time, he is fighting with the demons like Aghasura. In this way, he is sitting with different living entities in different ways, and he is thoroughly enjoying the situation." Now that's a teaching. Here's a nice example. And everyone in the room, I'm sure, without exception, everyone knows of Krishna's Govardhana Leela. And there's a story that's behind the Leela. But when Krishna performs the Leela, he's accomplishing many things with one thing. Here's some of those many things. You see in the painting there's torrential rain. The torrential rain is coming from Indra because Krishna understood that Indra was proud. He's a powerful guy. He's the king of heaven. Da, 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 da. I'm the king of heaven. And he was proud of his power and prowess and position. So Krishna saw that, and Krishna didn't like that. He didn't like for his devotees to be proud. So he decided to curb his pride. And how did he do? There was a yajna that Nanda Maharaj was going to perform in honor of bountiful rain that season, and it's fine, offer to Indra some respect and thanks for all the nice rain, so we have ample production of the fields and the cows have grass to eat and everything's fine. So the little Indra puja was planned. Krishna persuaded him to not do it, which made Indra very angry. What? This was his little pipsqueak. I'm the king of heaven and he's stopped my puja. I'll teach him a lesson. So he invoked, you know the story, he invoked the rain clouds of devastation. Samvartaka is this name of a certain type of cloud, and he summoned Samvartaka, destroy Vrindavan. Destroy the place. So much rain, everything was flooding. Now what are they going to do? Because I'm the king of heaven. So Krishna knew what to do. They came to the residents of Vrindavan, know Krishna as their shelter. 7-year-old boy. So what did Krishna do? He stood on a little hillock, as you see from the painting, and he lifted Govardhana Hill. He not only lifted Govardhana Hill, but he did it with his left hand. And he did it with the little finger of his left hand. And he held the hill up for 7 days. And amazing, the flooding waters, because Krishna released his Sudarshan chakra that went around Govardhana Hill so swiftly that all the flooding waters evaporated. Everyone was safe, and he invited, come under the hill. So he's curbing the pride of Indra, he's showing mystic powers, and he's satisfying the desires of the residents of Vrindavan by one thing. Because the residents of Vrindavan, during different times of the day, Krishna does different things. Like, he leaves and goes with the cowherd boys, with the calves and the cows. So the people in the village, the elders, they don't see him. And then the gopis don't see him. But when he comes back, then the gopis see him. So there's only certain times of the day different persons have a chance to interact. So Krishna made an arrangement they could see him 24/7 for 7 days. Constantly seeing and experiencing the presence of Krishna, fulfilling their heart's desire. It's rasa. It's a leela. It's a pastime. but it's to exchange love with his devotees and to curb the pride of Indra. And simultaneously, to manifest, you see this new word on the screen here, achintya shakti. What's that? Shakti we know, that's potency. And achintya is inconceivable. Chinta means consciousness or the mind. And that which is beyond the mind is achintya. He has achintya shakti that he can exhibit whenever he wishes. And the residents of Vrindavan, the cows, moo, they were with Krishna all day long for 7 days. They're very, very happy. And he's protecting them because that's another function. So many, many functions in one activity. And that we're going to see or hear one of those. In fact, this whole chapter 12 is an example of that. And above all is rasa. Some of you know a little bit about the Upanishads, and the Upanishads form a foundation. Sometimes it's not so clear who they're speaking about, but they're speaking about Krishna. So instead of saying Krishna's name, they use a pronoun, saha. Saha is he or it. It's a pronoun. And he or it, vai certainly is rasa. That is, the nature of Krishna is. He's not only the source of everything, he is rasa, which is the attractiveness of everyone and everything. Rasa vai saha. So Krishna reciprocating, he's giving taste or rasa or loving exchange with all the residents of Vrindavan without limit for 7 days. And in all these pastimes, that's the Govardhana Leela, this other pastime we'll see as we go forward. He is exchanging with the residents of Vrindavan in that way. So that's the nature of Krishna. That's the nature of scripture that reveals Krishna. And Bhagavad Gita certainly does that. And the graduate study of their undergraduate study is Srimad Bhagavatam. And I don't know about all of you, but some of us in this room, I'm one of them, have become a lover of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, I didn't grow up this way. I grew up, some other way. But in course of time, just a little sharing. Once upon a time, a few years ago, I was a college kid. And when I was in college, I started asking questions I used to ask when I was a little boy, but I got too busy being what little boys do, being successful. When you're a little kid growing up in America, there's some very simple litmus tests for being successful. You do well in academics. That's a mandatory starter. And you have a social life that, it's people look at and say, they're successful. And little boys, it's sports. So one of the programs we attended, right after the class, the little young boy came up and said, "Do you play tennis?" And his mom said, "Go ahead, show him." He has little boy, young, 7, 8 years old, whatever. He's already won 2 trophies for tennis. And he wanted to know if I play tennis. His life is tennis. Because that's what you do when you're a little boy in America. It doesn't matter what country you're from. Those 3 things, they're important for little boys growing up in America. But something happened. And I won't go into the detail, but there's something that happened. Is this: the questions I was asking as a little boy, I started asking again, because when I was a little boy, I didn't get answers. Like, what's it like in heaven? Because growing up, I went to Sunday school. That's what little boys do. Good Christian boy, you go to Sunday school. And I heard about heaven. So I asked Mom and Dad, what's it like there? I didn't say, like, what's the travel advertisement? But that was basically what I was asking. You know, what we're supposed to want to be there. What's there? Tell me a little bit about, so I want to go there, please. And they didn't say they didn't know, but they didn't know. They said some cute things, but they didn't know. So I went and asked the priest. And he didn't say, I don't know, but he didn't know. So this is a place we're supposed... Anyway, so I got a little frustrated because I was, curious. I wanted to know things. And no one had answers, so I stopped asking those questions. Then I started asking them again in college. And still no answers. Anyway, a whole series of things happened. Somebody, a philosophy professor, gave me a copy of Bhagavad Gita. I couldn't even pronounce it. I didn't know what it was. Because he would sometimes read his poetry. He's a nice fellow. We developed a friendship outside of class. Really nice man. And he gave me a Bhagavad Gita. I thought it was a book of poetry. And as I was carrying it around, because it was a gift from a person who I respected, another friend gave me his copy, which was a different version. One was a Penguin Classic, another was another, publisher, and so now I have two Bhagavad Gitas. And I thought, gosh, if there's two, there's probably more. I went to the library, and sure enough, there was 5 additional versions of Bhagavad Gita in the library. So I checked out all 5. Now I've got 7. I started reading all 7, and I came to 2 conclusions. It's not a book of poetry. And I don't understand it. Those are my 2 conclusions. Some time passed. Somebody gave me version number 8, Bhagavad Gita as it is. And I started reading Bhagavad Gita as it is, and I found it easy to understand. And I was puzzled. Those 7 I couldn't understand. And this one is easy. So, what's going on? But I liked it, so I kept reading, and then I started to understand. And it's the understanding is, knowledge that's real knowledge comes in this descending fashion, from an infallible sort. Not a scholar that's got a flashlight looking for the sun. That's not knowledge. It often passes for knowledge, and they have universities that teach that kind of stuff, but that's not what real knowledge is. It's self-luminous. It reveals itself when you have the transmitter that's a transparent source of that knowledge. And then Srimad Bhagavatam is the graduate study of the undergraduate study. And once I started reading Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam daily in our temples, like I was sold. I became a lover of, I am still a lover of Srimad Bhagavatam. And one of the great acharyas that I'm going to introduce you to is Sanatana Goswami, pictured here. And he wrote a book. He wrote several books. One of them is Krishna Leela Stava. Stava means prayers. There's prayers in relation to Krishna Leela. And when he was a young boy, when he was just 16, somebody gave him a Srimad Bhagavatam, and for the rest of his life, immersed in Srimad Bhagavatam. So here's 2 prayers. Asadu sadhu tat dandayan. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the very fallen, please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest upon my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. Simple. But he's a lover of the beloved. And the beloved is Krishna, and the beloved Krishna is revealed in Srimad Bhagavatam. So he loves Srimad Bhagavatam because that gives him access to his beloved, Krishna. In the same book, 2 verses earlier, here's another verse. Oh, Srimad Bhagavatam, my only friend. Oh, my companion. Oh, my teacher. Oh, my great wealth. Oh, my deliverer. Oh, my good fortune. Oh, my bliss. I offer respectful obeisances unto you. We all have friends. And who's your best friend? At least the best friend of Sanatana Goswami is the Bhagavatam. Not only his best friend, his only friend. Only friend means those in relation to Krishna, those that relate to Srimad Bhagavatam like he does, they're his friends. Like, his brother is Rupa Goswami. And then the other Goswamis of Vrindavan, they're certainly his friends. But they're friends because they have the same shared friend, Krishna, or Srimad Bhagavatam. And that's the nature of Vaishnava circles. So from Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm ready to begin. Canto 10, this is Krishna in Vrindavan, chapter 12. And the story is the Aghasura demon is met by Krishna. So the first part, this is a 3-minute summary of part 1 and 2. Now this is part 3. In parts 1 and 2, we get a description of Krishna's childhood. His age, 4 years, 4 months. Think of a boy that's, what's your age? 9? Okay. I remember when you were younger. You were very playful. You remember? I remember. You're not playful now, but you were like uncontrollably playful. Mom and Dad will remind you in case you forgot. But I remember. So the 4-year, 4-month-old village boys in Vrindavan, very, very playful. So the first several parts of chapter 12 is their playfulness. I mean, there's many other things, but this is a day when Krishna asked his mother instead of the usual. The usual was the boys would go take care of the calves. She would prepare lunch, and she would do the whole motherly thing with Krishna, getting up and bathing him and dressing him and cooking for him and this and that, and doing what mothers like to do with their little boys. And off he would go. But this particular morning, he asked his mother, I don't want to have lunch, or I don't have breakfast at home. Make a lunch, a breakfast to go, little lunch bag. So she did that. She set aside her motherly instincts and did what Krishna wanted. Mothers can do that too. And the second thing is, Balaram wasn't there. And this, we heard parts 1 and 2. Balaram wasn't there for different reasons, but the main point, it would have really messed up the pastime if Balaram was there. Because Krishna is going to confront a demon, and the demon is going to look like the demon's going to win. But that wouldn't happen with Balaram present, because Balaram would bonk the guy and he's finished. Because he's all spiritual strength. Balaram. So Balaram wasn't there. And they hadn't had breakfast. So they're going out to the forest, doing what 4-year-old boys do. Play and play and play. We heard the whole description of their playfulness. And then there was a very nice verse. We spent about half an hour on a very nice verse number 11. You can look it up later if you like, from chapter 12. And it describes how special are these cowherd boys. Shukadeva Goswami is narrating to the king, Maharaj Parikshit, And all of a sudden, he just kind of goes into an ecstasy, a trance, and starts expressing how fortunate are these boys, because there are gyanis, and the gyanis can have some knowledge of spirit and have Brahma Sukh, or the happiness of spiritual contact, but they can't play with Krishna. They don't have that access. And there's yogis. They may have mystic powers, but they can't play with Krishna. There are persons who are materialists, and they don't have access to Krishna at all. They look at him in a different way. They look at Krishna. But the cowherd boys, they're playing with Krishna. For example, one of the games that boys play is wrestling. And Krishna always loses. The all-powerful Krishna is defeated by Sridham. Commonly, they go in pairs, and the one who loses has to carry the winner on his shoulders. That was part of the game. So Sridham would always win. And Sridham says, "What kind of a big man are you? You always lose." And so forth. They're underneath a tree, and they throw coconuts up in the coconut tree, or mangoes up in the mango tree to get other mangoes to fall. And they do all kinds of things, imitating the flight of a bird, or the posture of a frog ready to jump into the pond, and the gestures of the peacock when the peacock feathers are spread. They're playing. Little boys play. So it's playfulness, and then comes part 3. They see what you see on the right side, this giant creature lying in the middle of the road, lying the path in the forest. "My dear King Parikshit, therefore, there appeared a great demon named Aghasura, whose death was being awaited even by the demigods." He was a really vicious demon, and even the demigods wanted to see him destroyed. The demigods drank nectar every day, Amrita, but still they feared this great demon and awaited his death. And the demon couldn't tolerate the transcendental pleasure being enjoyed in the forest by the cowherd boys. Materialists are envious. If someone's having a good time, they envy the person who's having a good time. And these boys are like having a blast. And he couldn't bear the happiness that they were experiencing. So then one of our acharyas raises the question, wait a minute, how is it possible that a demon can interrupt Krishna's pastimes? Shouldn't be possible. Darkness can't cover light. A demon can't stop Krishna's pastimes. What's going on? So Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur reasons, or reveals, the Leela Shakti of the Lord, seeing that the bliss of the boys from playing was increasing at every moment, and it was not possible for them to stop playing, seeing that without stopping playing they could not eat, they hadn't had their breakfast yet, and that eating time had already passed. Also seeing that it was necessary to kill the demon, Krishna's Leela Shakti brought the Aghasura demon towards the boys, inspiring him through Paramatma. So the painting shows up top, that's the Aghasura demon up on the hill. The cowherd boys are down below by the river Jamuna, and Aghasura demon is inspired by the Lord of the Heart to go interrupt their pastimes so they can stop and have lunch. Oops, excuse me, wrong direction. Aghasura had been sent by Kamsa, was the younger brother of Putana, and Bhagavasura. So some of you know the first demon that was killed by Krishna was a female. Her name was Putana. And Putana was a mystic lady. She was a witch that had the power to fly in the sky on a broomstick. You know, like Halloween. Prabhupada writes, even today in the northwestern part of India, there are mystic ladies that they break off a branch of a tree and it can fly around in the branch of a tree. The mystic power. Still today. I mean, but that's what Prabhupada writes. So she was that kind of a person. She could fly in the sky, and she was sent by Kamsa to find out where the 8th child of Devaki is. Because he heard this prophecy in the sky, you know, from Krishna Janmashtami. Durga flew out of his hand and laughed at Kamsa. You are such a fool. The 8th child of Devaki has already taken birth and is somewhere here in Vrindavan. Ha ha, you'll meet your death. And she disappeared. So he heard it from Durga. So he's like, uh-oh, I better find out where that 8th child of Devaki is, somewhere. So he sent Putana to find him. And she's flying in the sky, there's details and details of how Putana got killed. But the first one that Krishna killed was Putana. And she had another mystic power. She could assume forms according to her will. So she assumed a form of looking like Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, so that she could go anywhere and no one would stop her. And, you know, details and details. And she came with the intention of killing Krishna, and instead Krishna killed her. So that was the first, and then several demons later was Putana's elder brother. His name was Baka, and he assumed the form of a crane. He was also sent by Kamsa to kill Krishna. He tried, but it worked the other way around. Krishna killed him. So because Agha, or Aghasura, was sent by Kamsa, therefore when he came and saw Krishna at the head of all the cowherd boys, he thought, quote, this Krishna has killed my sister and brother, Putana and Bhagavasura. Therefore, in order to please them both, I shall kill this Krishna, along with his assistants, the other cowherd boys. He was saying murderous motivation. Bad guy. Next verse. Aghasura thought, if somehow or other I can make Krishna and his associates serve as the last offering of sesame and water for the departed souls of my brother and sister, then the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi, for whom these boys are the life and soul, will automatically die. If there is no life, there is no need for the body. Consequently, when their sons are dead, naturally all the inhabitants of Braja will die. He was going to murder the whole of Vrindavan. He's not a nice guy. Next verse. After thus deciding that crooked Aghasura assumed the form of a huge python, because he also had shape-changing powers, the mystic power, as thick as a big mountain and as long as 8 miles. 8 miles? You drove us. What was the travel time from you? What's the travel time? 20 miles? 20 minutes. How many miles? How many? 10 to 11. 10 kilometers. 11 miles. So that's like 1 1/3 Aghasura. 8 miles. Wait till you hear the rest of it. Having assumed this wonderful python's body, he spread his mouth like a big cave in the mountains and lay down on the road, because that's what pythons do. They wait for some prey to come in their mouth, expecting to swallow Krishna and his associate, the cowherd boys. So there's the serpent. And there's different paintings. His lower lip rested on the surface of the earth, and his upper lip was touching the clouds in the sky. That's big. 8 miles and big mouth. The borders of his mouth resembled the sides of a big cave in a mountain, and the middle of his mouth was as dark as possible. The cavernous interior part of the serpent. His tongue resembled a broad traffic way. His breath was like a warm wind, and his eyes blazed like fire because he wanted revenge. He killed my brother and sister. Upon seeing this demon's wonderful form, which resembled a great python, the boys thought that it must be a beautiful scenic spot, like, playground. Because, this is Vrindavan, playground. Thereafter, they imagined it to be similar to the mouth of a great python. Just like, in other words, the boys were unafraid, thought it was a statue made in the shape of a great python for the enjoyment of their pastimes. How nice, somebody made this nice playground for us out here in the middle of the forest. Fantastic. Some of the boys, on seeing Aghasura, started to run away, thinking it was a big snake. Other boys, this is commentary, however, considered that Aghasura was one of the wonders of Vrindavan. So they had this little debate. Some this and some that. They comforted their fearful friends by saying, "Oh, fools, a snake can never be this big, 8 miles long, come on. It is something created by the Lord out of clay, so that we can appreciate the splendor of Vrindavan even more. He has made it in the form of a huge snake with a big, gaping snout." The boys said, "Dear friends, if this creature is dead, is this creature dead, or is it actually a living python with its mouth spread wide open just to swallow us all? Kindly clear up this doubt." Next verse. Thereafter they decided, "Dear friends, this is certainly an animal sitting here to swallow us all. Its upper lip resembles a cloud reddened by the sunshine, and its lower lip resembles the reddish shadows of a cloud. On the left and right, the two depressions resembling mountain caves are the corners of its mouth, and the high mountain peaks are its teeth. In length and breadth, the animal's tongue resembles a broad traffic way, and the inside of its mouth is very, very dark, like a cave in a mountain." Nice artwork, yeah? The hot, fiery wind is the breath coming out of its mouth, which is giving off the bad smells of burning flesh because of all the dead bodies he has eaten. Then the boys said, "Has this living creature come to swallow us? If he does so, he will immediately be killed, like Bhagavatam, without delay." So in chapter 11, that's the chapter where the killing of Aghasura happened. They don't know they're related, but Krishna dealt with Aghasura. He came also with this wicked intent. Thus they looked at the beautiful face of Krishna, the enemy of Aghasura, and laughing loudly, clapping their hands, they entered the mouth of the python. Playful boys. Commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Together they spoke with a little fear. This thing, if it is really a snake, and we enter his mouth, will he swallow us up? Someone then answered to calm them down, if it is so, then in an instant he will be killed as Baka was killed by Krishna. Because Baka also came with that evil intent. Saying such words, they smiled while looking at Krishna, who was standing some distance away. Krishna is within our glance, so what have we to worry? Then they entered the mouth out of boyish curiosity. And there are several nice paintings showing they're entering the mouth. You see Krishna in the background watching the whole scene. And here's another painting. Krishna's watching the whole scene. And that ends part 3. You're going to have to come for part 4. But I'll give you a little preview of part 4. And the preview of part 4 is very mysterious. The mystery is Krishna has unlimited potencies. Nija Sarva Shaktis. Unlimited potencies. There's a nice verse in the Upanishads. Parasya Shaktir Vivadaiva Shruyate Swabhavaki Jnana Balakriyacha. Parasya Shaktir. Supreme potencies. How many supreme potencies? Unlimited. Unlimited. And each of those unlimited potencies is unlimited. And the Supreme has all those potencies, so he doesn't have to do anything. Just like Govardhana Hill. Anybody can lift a hill. To walk around Govardhana Hill takes about 6 hours, as if you walk fast. It can take the whole day. It can take 8, 10 hours. But 6 hours walking swiftly to lift the hill, one person, not possible. So he has unlimited powers, Achintya Shakti. Not only with one person, but with one hand, with a little finger of his left hand. Try standing, just holding your arm up in the air with your little finger extended for 7 days and nights. You're not going to be able to do that. What to speak of? So, how did it happen? His inconceivable potencies, that's how it happened. In fact, he has such inconceivable potency, he doesn't have to lift the mountain with his hand. He just desires and the mountain lifts. That's how potent is Krishna. No limit. So here the image is showing Krishna's watching the cowherd boys entering the mouth of Aghasura, and part 4 is going to say, Krishna knew, wait a minute, this isn't just a playground. It's not just a clay figure. This is a demon wanting to kill the cowherd boys and kill me. And he, Krishna, didn't want that. But it happened. It happened. So then Krishna is pondering, wait a minute, how did this happen? And then he understood, because it was a pastime. My Leela Shakti wanted me to experience this compassion. This is part 4. Karuna rasa. Now it comes to the whole science of rasa. So you don't have to come tomorrow, you hear it today. According to Rupa Goswami's teachings, there are 5 primary rasas. Rasas means relationships of love. Shanta, neutrality. Dasya, servitude. Sakya, friendship. Vatsalya, parental affection. Madhurya, conjugal affection. 5. Primary. And then there's 12 secondary rasas. And those secondary rasas sometimes mix with the primary rasa, like astonishment. Krishna sees them entering into the mouth of Aghasura. It's a secondary rasa. That Leela Shakti was making an arrangement for Krishna to feel a secondary rasa. And then compassion. When they were in his mouth, Aghasura's mouth, he couldn't see them. And he's feeling compassion because he knows that this demon wants to kill them. So he's feeling compassion for them. And he knows that they can't live without seeing him, and they can't see him. They're in the mouth. So he's marveling. Just see how my Leela Shakti is working. Stimulating love in different ways. But the Leela potency acts according to Krishna's desire, not independently. Not that Krishna becomes covered, but his Leela Shakti is enabling him to experience an emotion that he otherwise wouldn't experience. It's profound. It's science of rasa, or science of love. And then what happens after that, what happens after that, and what happens after that. So Krishna then is pondering as if he's not omniscient. He's omniscient. But he's enjoying pondering. How can the boys be rescued and the demon be killed? Because they're in his mouth. If I kill the demon, they're finished. But I have to rescue them and finish this Aghasura. So how to do? Sometimes we have the experience that there's something that's important, but we don't know exactly how to do it. What do you do when that happens? Krishna waited for the moment where he could then understand, and then he understood, and then he did. And you'll hear, if you attend the class tomorrow, or the recording of the class tomorrow, he entered the mouth of the demon, expanded himself so big, and pythons, the kind of creature a python is, they can swallow something humongous, and their body just gets bigger to accommodate the humongous. But Krishna became so big that the python couldn't expand sufficiently, and his life airs were blocked. And then the life airs popped through the top of his head, the soft place in the top of a head that humans have and snakes also have. And the soul went up in the air and hovered in the air. Krishna came out with the cowherd boys, and everyone saw the demigods up in the sky were watching all this. Just like Shishupal. The soul entered into the body of Krishna. He got liberation. There's more to say. We'll hear the more to say tomorrow evening. So it's a wonderful pastime that went by one thing. Krishna's accomplishing many things. He's liberating a demon. He's giving some satisfaction to each of the cowherd boys and the demigods that are watching the scene up in the sky, because they were clamoring, "Oh no, the cowherd boys went into..." So when they were crying loudly, Krishna could hear, "That's enough, I better do something." So he's satisfying the demigods. He's liberating a demon. He's doing what he said he would do, pritranaya sadhanam, vinashaya saduskatam. He's stimulating rasa with the cowherd boys. He's doing many things at one time, with one thing. And that's his cleverness. That's one of the qualities of Krishna. And one can appreciate all the activities of Krishna in the same manner, you looking through the lens of rasa. That's Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. And it's one of them, chapter 12. I like chapter 12. I like chapter 13. I like chapter 14. Chapter 14 is fantastic. Chapter 14 is Brahma's prayers. Before coming here, I was in Naperville. We spent a whole week, 7 days, just discussing chapter 14. And we didn't finish. So when I go back, we're going to finish. 20 verses at the end of chapter 14 discussing the pastime of Brahma offering prayers to Krishna. Okay, looks like it's time for prasadam. So what should I do? Is there time for some discussion? Yeah? Okay. Any comments or questions? I hope I went slowly enough so you could all kind of follow along. I hope. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, I have 3 questions.
3 questions.
So from today's class, the friends of Krishna, they had multiple thoughts about the Aghasura. Either they thought it's a wonderland, it's different things.
Yes.
At the end, they come to the conclusion, whatever it may be, Krishna will protect us.
Yes.
So is that the Leela Shakti enabling them to think that way? So
no,
they act?
it's their faith, it's their loving relationship with Krishna in all circumstance. They don't, we are also devotees of Krishna. We don't take undue risks. You don't drive along the highway at full speed ahead with a blindfold over your eyes. You obey the traffic laws and you keep your eyes open and things like that. Devotees should not take unnecessary risks, but whenever we're just doing anything, walking across the street, staying in your house, there's a risk. So we feel protected, even when our life is at risk or our well-being is at risk. We don't take undue risks, but we know that Krishna will protect us. That's the lesson. And these are cowherd boys. These are 4-year-old boys. Whatever it is, we're okay because Krishna will protect us. Next.
Next question is, Maharaj mentioned in the morning class, yesterday's class, that Krishna's pastimes has always the ultimate purpose, primary purpose, which is for the loving dealings with the devotees.
Yeah.
That's a primary purpose most of the time.
Yes.
But there is also secondary purposes, and some things happens incidentally. Like the slide said, Brahma's bewilderment was an incidental thing. It was not a planned one.
Well, yes and no, because I would say the yes part, it was planned. Or no, it wasn't. It's not that it wasn't planned. Krishna wanted, and so what Krishna wants happens. Krishna wanted Brahma, who is his devotee, to become like 100% convinced. Because Brahma is not, if Brahma was all pure devotees attain the spiritual realm. And Brahma is not in the spiritual realm. He's super qualified. But he's not a resident of Vaikuntha. He's a resident of the material world. He's the topmost personality in the universe, but he's still in the universe. So he wants Brahma to become qualified to not take birth again in the material world, become absolutely 100% pure. So he created a situation where Brahma made a boo-boo. And he corrected the boo-boo. And he revealed the transcendentalness in a way that just blew Brahma's mind, and then resulted in 40 prayers of glorifying, asking for forgiveness. But, being squeaky clean as far as his understanding of Krishna's unique position, and aspiring to be with the resident of Vrindavan. He wants Braja Prem at the end. It's very clear in his prayers. So Krishna wanted that. So he bewildered him. Krishna arranged the bewilderment to bring about those things. And Brahma to give wonderful teachings to all of us. It was one of those, he's clever. He was achieving many things through one thing.
My last question is about the rasa.
Yeah.
I'm trying to form the question. Rasa is Krishna is the reservoir of all rasas.
Yes, he's the source of everything, including rasa.
Not
He is rasa. Rasa vaisaha. He is rasa.
Okay. So if the soul wants to experience the rasa or the happiness or bliss, if he somehow or other in contact with Krishna through his holy name or whatever, then eventually the soul will also experience the rasa in bhava or prema stage.
Well, there's different classes, like Kamsa. He was very Krishna conscious, but wasn't devoted. He was always thinking, Krishna, he's going to kill me. I should kill him before he kills me. This is a demon. But his object of meditation was Krishna.
The other avatars of Krishna, incarnations of Krishna, they are not all the reservoirs of all rasas, like Ramachandra or Nrsimhadev.
That's correct. There's other distinctions besides that one, but that's correct. Krishna is the source, and he expands himself. They have many, 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 many of Krishna's qualities, but not all of Krishna's qualities. He is Krishna in full, and expansions are Vishnu Tattva, but not Krishna in full. There's quality. You know from Nectar Devotion. There's a list of Krishna's qualities. We saw one, clever. There's 4 qualities that Krishna has that other expansions of Krishna don't have. You want to know what those 4 are? Well, one of them is what she's asking. You know, Krishna has unique loving pastimes that are not found in other avatars. Unique loving pastimes. Another aspect of Krishna, another quality of Krishna is when he kills demons, other avatars kill demons, other avatars kill demons, but they don't grant liberation. They grant freedom from the karma of their past misdeeds. But liberation is beyond. Liberation in relation to Krishna is entrance into the spiritual world. So, Vishnu forms, just like, Ravana and Kumbhakarna. They didn't go back to Vaikuntha. They didn't become Giant Vijay again. They went somewhere else. The somewhere else they went, according to scripture, they attained a place that's neutral for persons that have sinful activities, but they didn't go to Vaikuntha. Krishna alone does that. He has the capacity to deliver. And another is all attractiveness of his pastimes. The pastimes of all the avatars are very attractive, but there's a superlative attractiveness or sweetness of Krishna's pastimes that are not equal in all of the other avatar forms. How about this? I'll send to you, because I sent some dots. No, I'll send to you. I'll send to her the list of the 4, as it's described by Rupa Goswami, the 4 qualities of Krishna that are not found in other forms of Vishnu or the Vishnu avatars. In Rupa Goswami's language, and then you'll see it in Rupa Goswami's language. How's that? Okay. You send me a little reminder. Okay. Anyone else? Yes. Put your hand up again. This little boy needs to see a hand.
I just have a very, very simple question. That if Lord Krishna knew he was going to kill Aghasura, why did he let his friends, into, the harm's way, I should say?
Okay.
If he knew it...
That's part 4, but I'll give you the answer.
Okay. Okay.
Here's the answer. It's a very sweet, it's a rasa answer.
Okay.
The answer is, Krishna desired, the devotee's desire who wins. He subordinates his desire to his devotee's desire.
Okay.
That's love.
Okay.
That's Krishna. He's the reservoir of all rasa. He loves his cowherd boys so much that he subordinates his desire and then he rescues them.
So let them have a good time and then rescue them.
But he's not just let them have a good time.
Yeah.
He subordinates his desire to their desire. That's love. That's love. There's a conflict when you don't do that. You're in a relationship, but it's got to be my way, or we don't have love anymore.
That's true.
That's not what love is.
Thank you.
Was there what? Yeah, yes. Yes, yes. When Rupa Goswami was writing, when Rupa Goswami, we got the question, thanks. When Rupa Goswami was writing his book on Bhakti Rasa, it wasn't creative writing spree. It wasn't Harry Potter or Alice in Wonderland, or it wasn't fiction. It's based in Scripture, which is what your question is. And if you want to know more on what were the scriptural reference for those four, then you put that in the question, because the book that Rupa Goswami wrote has multiple commentaries. And the commentaries, if Rupa Goswami didn't say, based upon this scriptural reference, I'm making this statement. I mean, that's the standard. You don't make statements without supporting it from a scriptural reference. Yes, he did. But what were they? I'll do a little extra homework besides, the easy one. Because the easy one is in Nectar Devotion, that's just a summary study. But then there's the actual book in Sanskrit, and then there's commentaries of the Sanskrit book, or Sanskrit texts, the manuscript. So I'll see if I can find that, and the scriptural reference behind. If you want that. Okay. I'll do a little homework. I like doing homework. I like doing research. Researching about Krishna is very nice.
So you just have that he was like, not in the right way.
Yeah, negative.
Negative. But he can hear me. Yeah. So even though he was negatively thinking of Krishna, was he still liberated by Krishna?
Let's say it again. Every living entity, all the soldiers in the Kurukshetra battlefield, everyone that was killed in Krishna's presence or by Krishna, they achieved liberation. That's... Say it again? He didn't, but they were killed in his presence. You didn't hear what I said. Killed by Krishna or in Krishna's presence, the liberation.
So everybody in Kurukshetra got liberation.
Everyone in Kurukshetra got liberation. Good guys and bad guys. Because Krishna is not making, the discrimination. This is a good guy, that's a bad guy. He's neutral.
Yeah. That's good to know.
It's good to know. Yeah. That's his power. That's one of his specialties. They didn't necessarily, it's not based upon knowledge, it's based upon mercy. The mercifulness of Krishna supersedes. Now, the different kinds of liberation. And there's, 5 kinds of liberation. One is just merging, sayuja mukti. And then you get into a whole other, what are the different categories of mukti? Here's an example. This comes in part 4. Preview of part 4. What happened when Aghasura was killed? according to the acharyas, no, is there some scriptural reference for what they say? Yes. But everyone saw, who sees the soul? Nobody. But everyone saw the soul. How was that possible? Krishna made it possible. So they saw the soul, this light, leave his body, that's the soul. You don't see the soul leave the body, but they saw the soul leave the body, hover in the sky. When Krishna came out of the body of Aghasura with the cowherd boys, the soul merged. Sounds like Sayuja. But the commentators say, from that position of merging, he, the soul of Aghasura, achieved Sarupya Mukti, a form like Krishna. But then they say, because he was not in a devotional mood like the resident of Vrindavan, it was in the Vaikuntha realm, where all the associates of Narayana have forms like Narayana. That kind, Sarupya. It's detailed, but it's nice. But not Vrindavan. And then the distinction, it's a nice, another detail. What about Putana? She was wicked. Little baby, and she wants to kill a little baby. Wicked lady. But she came in the mood of a mother. Krishna accepted the motherly mood, service, and gave her position eternally as a maid servant of Mother Yasoda in the spiritual world. That's mercy. So, power of Krishna. He can determine things like that. But it's a reciprocation. Back to your question, it's a reciprocation of their mood. And Aghasura didn't have any service mood, so he didn't get that position in the spiritual world. He got a form in Vaikuntha, like the form of Narayan. That's Krishna. Yeah. Okay, here comes the little boy with the microphone. He likes his service. So
if Krishna was Narayan, which is Vishnu.
Yes, that's right.
And according to what we are taught, he comes on the earth to remove all evil.
Yeah.
How come only in India he came, not anywhere else?
Oh, why he picked India?
Always India, but not anywhere else.
Why India? That's the question.
Why India, and why not anywhere else?
Why not anywhere else? Same, that's why India. Okay. Punya Bhumi.
Pardon me?
Punya Bhumi, the land of piety. He doesn't have to follow anybody's rule book. He's independent to do whatever he wants. And he goes, there's demons even in Punya Bhumi, and he wants to clean up the mess. He's not a janitor, but he cleans up the mess.
There's a mess all over the world.
Yes, and Krishna appears in Punya Bhumi. It's his choice. Now you can put in a requisition slip to Krishna. Come on over here to St. Louis or something. There's plenty of... Don't pick on St. Louis, okay. United States. We don't pick on the United States, just outside of India. So, put in a requisition slip. Wait a minute, you gotta wait for this little boy to come over to you with the microphone. That's our rule.
Swamiji, whatever you are explaining, which book is it that I can read?
About what?
Like you're saying part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4.
Okay. Sure. It's what book can you the whole Vritrasura story that you want to know where you can read about it.
Yes.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam.
Srimad
Bhagavatam.
Okay, thank you.
And much of what I've said, you've probably noticed, there's commentaries. Vishwanath, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami making commentaries. So those publications are also translated not in the original Bhagavatam or the BBT commentary, but they have other commentaries by those personalities I just mentioned.
Okay, so start out with Bhagavatam and
Yeah,
then go.
okay. That's ground zero.
Okay,
Bhagavatam.
and then go up.
And
okay.
yeah, but you have your hands full. Do you have a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam in your home?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, let me do this. This is my plan. See the slide on the screen? There's a big festival that takes place once a year in ISKCON centers all over the world. And it's called the Bhadra Purnima Festival. This year, the date comes in September, so we're some distance away. But it says in the 12th Canto Bhagavatam, if on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. So there are centers all around the world that distribute Srimad Bhagavatam sets. St. Louis is one of those centers. If anyone in the room does not have a Bhagavatam set, pretty please with sugar on top, get a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam. We have a set. He's gesturing over in the corner. There's a set on display. You can take it home with you.
And when is that, Swamiji? When? Bhadra.
You can do
What
it
date?
now.
What date? Oh, I see.
No problem. No problem. No problem.
Okay, thank
No
you.
problem.
Thank
No
you.
problem at all. Let me share this with you. There's one really nice devotee. I mean, all devotees are nice devotees, but really nice devotee that lives in San Jose. His name is Vaisheshika Prabhu. And his center, ISKCON Silicon Valley, San Jose, they distribute so many Bhagavatam sets. Last year, that one center distributed 68,000 Srimad Bhagavatam sets. And this year they have a target, because I asked him, please send me your promotional material. He sent it. 100,000 Srimad Bhagavatam sets in the Bay Area. One temple. Yeah, undergraduate, graduate. That's it, it's very simple. The Sanskrit is not so complicated. There are different kinds of Sanskrit. The Sanskrit that's in Bhagavad Gita is super simple. And the Sanskrit that's in Bhagavatam, there's many differences. The differences of meters, the same meter in which in which Ramayana is written, the same Anustup meter is the same meter in Bhagavad Gita slokas. Anustup meter. No, but the Bhagavatam has 12 different meters, depending upon the passage. And so the Sanskrit is the same, but the meters are different. It's more melodious and variegated, and many, many, many nice things about the Bhagavatam. You're a scholarly man. I'm going to... One of the things I'm going to send you, and she can circulate to those of you that are scholarly inclined. You won't be, if you're not going to be interested in this. But it's a recording of a devotee from Russia. His name is Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj. Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj. And he is very scholarly. And he's done a lot of research. And he is planning, I think it's a 26 or a 32-part series, and so far he's done 10, and details like you're asking. This question that you're asking, it's in his seminar. It's like, whew, he did his homework. He's very scholarly. For persons that aren't so scholarly, you may not be so interested. But someone that really wants to know, and my experience is I've had to listen to his classes at least twice or thrice in order to assimilate what he's saying. And I've been around a few years.
And what's your educational background? Science?
Yeah. medicine. I took a little break from medical school and became a Hare Krishna guy. Okay. How we anybody this is free flow. You're a very spontaneous group. You don't even need a little boy with a microphone running around. Anything else? I think otherwise we'll just take a break and some you want to make some little announcements, I can tell. Yes? You want to make some announcement about the Bhagavatam set? Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for enlightening us today. So as Maharaj says, Bhadra Purnima, we have a Bhagavatam campaign, and today anybody who booked, we will give a discount. So whole Bhagavatam set, which is like 18 books, for $351. But please talk to me or Krishna Sir Prabhu. We will talk to you. We can deliver it. Yeah. And Bhagavatam, as Maharaj says, is a in Kali Yuga is an incarnation of Krishna, literary form of Krishna. So when you Bhagavatam in Krishna home, it's like a Krishna is in your home himself. So please do consider that. We do installation.
And if you already have a Bhagavatam set, find 10 people that don't.
There you go.
And gift it to them. Okay, find some friends. Find some friends. You have some friends. You have some friends? You have a lot. Okay. Find some friends that say, yeah, you can put a Bhagavatam set in my book as a gift. That's fine. Or, you know what? Let me buy the book and I'll let you be the agent that bought the book from me. But I'll put Krishna in my home. Thank you very much. You'll find people that they like. And once they start liking, I mean, they're not going to be necessarily me, but you're gonna. It's Bhagavatam is inside. I've been living a life of Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's not just information; it's inside. Yeah. And it happens like that. It's not you learn things, but it's not just like academic learning things. How about what? Yeah, sure. You what's inside comes out. That's life. And when it's you just first bring it inside, and then it's how you live your life. And you don't have to become a sannyasi to live your life. Bhagavatam, you live your life how you live your life. That's one of Brahma's prayers. It's a very celebrated verse. Stane statak shrutikatam tanavan manobir. Just stay in your position. And Shrutikatam, Tanavan Manobi, with your body, mind, and words, dedicate yourself to that sound vibration. Live your life. Be whatever you are, an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, street sweeper, whatever you are. Whatever you are. Stay in your position, but hear this message. That's Brahma's prayers. And it's true. It's very true. Your life changed. Vidunoti suritsatam. The heart, srit, rit, becomes vidhunoti, becomes cleansed of all unwanted things. When unwanted things are gone, what's left? The wanted things, that's what's left. Make life sweet. Instead of, Kali Yuga. It transforms this age to the golden age. That's what the sound vibration does. It's very beneficial, very powerful, very potent, very soothing and cleansing and very sweet. You'll see as you go along, step by step by step, walking down the path of hearing this sound vibration. It grows in you and then around you, as you said. And those around you will feel this person's different. Mm. They become different just by that sound vibration. That's how it works. It's that kind of sound. Okay. Now prasadam time.
Yes. So if you we can come to your home, do a kirtan as we started today. So it creates an auspicious environment. So we invite Bhagavatam, Monsieur Chase, and we do very nice, it's called Bhagavatam installation, like we do DT installation. When you invite Krishna at home, so we do yagna and invite and install deities. Similarly, when Bhagavatam, we can arrange for a kirtan, nice kirtan, and do Aarti of Bhagavatam set and install that Bhagavatam at your home. So we please consider that.
That's attractive.